I reckon we're deporting your grandma and importing some beef. Welcome back to the I Reckon podcast. All right, ladies and gentlemen, jumping on a little earlier today. I am I just got to rant for a second. Okay, so I just saw the clip. I just saw the clip of Donald Trump on Air Force One talking about why we're importing Argentinian beef. I'm going to play the clip before I say anything. So if you haven't seen it yet, you'll see it here. And then I'll give you my take because I don't want to cloud what you might think about this. So here we go.
What do you have to say to U.S. farmers who feel that the deal is benefiting Argentina more than it is them, as they are
Argentina's fighting for its life, young lady. You don't know anything about it. They're fighting for their life. Nothing's benefiting Argentina. They're fighting for their life. You understand what that means? They have no money. They have no anything. They're fighting so hard to survive. If I can help them survive in a free world, I happen to like the president of Argentina. I think he's trying to do the best he can. But don't make it sound like they're doing great. They are dying. All right? They're dying.
All right. That's President Trump on the plane talking about importing beef. Now, I approach this from a very particular hilltop. Okay. I am militantly America first. I'm not MAGA. I wish I was. But honestly, I don't feel like they're doing enough of the things that I thought I was voting for. So I think I'm past MAGA. Definitely America first. Unfortunately, no matter who we vote for, we end up getting John McCain. Okay. I'm aware of that. All right. So here's the deal. I'm going to steel man the argument for importing beef. Okay. Number one, the US beef herd is not really in a good spot right now. It's pretty small. And this is exacerbating a problem. So if you're a beef rancher, right, and you have your herd, you have two options. You can keep more of the cattle alive to make baby cows and grow your herd, which is an expensive endeavor. Caring for animals is not cheap. Buying more land for them to graze on is not cheap. Feeding them hay over the winter, not cheap. It's an investment. So you could do that, forego some revenue to spend some money to invest in your herd, or with these elevated beef prices right now, you could just go ahead and send those cattle off to get processed and then take advantage of some high beef prices, because these high prices, they don't last, right? They'll go up and down, particularly with commodities. It's not as sticky. So, you want to, it's a bird in the hand, two in the bush type of thing. Okay. So what he's trying to do is to inject some more beef into the US market to take some stress off of the US herd. That is the best I can do for that argument. And then, if you choose Argentina over any other country, well, the better the economy is in some of these Latin American, South American countries where we're dealing with a lot of illegal migration, you make the economy better in those countries, less people are likely to come up here illegally, which costs us less money because taking care of illegal immigrants isn't cheap. The Biden administration tried that, and I don't think it worked, but we can say that they didn't want it to work because, over the last 16 years, the Democrats have been in the White House for like 12 of them, and we saw like a huge influx in illegal immigration. And so now we have to take some pretty draconian measures to answer for it. I don't love somebody's brother, grandma, whatever, getting snatched up at a Walmart. I don't know the degree to which that is happening, but if it's happening at all, I don't love it. I don't love that law abiding people who maybe are here illegally, but the broken immigration system kind of forced their hand in that way. Look, if I was a mother in South America or in Latin America, I would probably be doing the same exact thing. Anything to provide a better life for my child. I will do anything. Okay. And we gave them an avenue to do anything, and that's what they did. So when we see these kind of draconian deportation measures, it's easy to blame the administration because they're the one putting the policy in place. They didn't create the need for the policy though. So like I blame, the Democrat presidents who let a bunch of people in and didn't want to do a border wall because it was mean and it was not nice. Well, you know what else isn't nice? Yanking grandma out of the Walmart. Like that's not nice either. So, yeah, I hate this entire situation. I don't solely blame the current administration. I absolutely don't blame the law enforcement officers and the federal agents charged with carrying out this policy. I mean, we cannot, like I say this all the time in the pod, status quo, we can't keep doing that. We can't afford status quo. So we have to take some sort of measure. So I'm never going to point my finger at the man in the arena and be like, well, you're doing it wrong, because like status quo, not acceptable. So we're going to take some stress off the US beef herd, allow it to recover, and we're going to help out an economy to our south to hopefully alleviate some stress at our border and at Mexico's border and all of this stuff. That's the steel man for the argument. Okay. And here's why I don't fucking buy it. And I don't like it. And I'm pissed. So I'm jumping on the pod at 10 in the morning because I'm angry. So stress on the US beef herd, exacerbated by elevated beef prices, exacerbated by a shrinking herd. We're circling the toilet bowl here. Okay. The answer is not send American food dollars to another country. I don't think that's the answer. I definitely don't think that we should have beef coming in from Argentina and not know. Because in the grocery store, where's the country of origin? Oh, was it packaged in the United States? Did we slap a barcode on the back of it in the United States so we've added value? So now we can say it's a product of the USA because we added value in the United States. I don't give a fuck where value was added. Who raised the cow, the steer? I'm not a scientist. Who raised the damn cattle? That's what I care about. Where was that cow, cattle, steer eating? Was it eating in another country? Was it eating grass? Was it eating in a feedlot? I want to know as a consumer. And I think it's fair that people know and allow the American people to choose what kind of beef they want. I don't want the president picking my beef. I just don't. Okay. And part of the issue with farmers right now is like China is not taking American exports of meat to the degree that they used to. Doesn't it seem crazy to you? Like we're getting beef from Argentina so that we can send our beef to China? Get the fuck out of here, bro. Absolutely not. That is unacceptable. We need to spend American food dollars in America on American farms. That is how, and how do we do that? How do we encourage people to stay in the beef industry, to get into the beef industry? There are so many small ranchers and communities fighting so hard to stay in business, not because they're getting rich and they want to stay in business so that they can keep getting rich. They're not rich. I know these people. They are not rich. They live a very humble lifestyle, and every dollar they can put into the farm, that's where it goes. That is their wealth. That is what makes them happy. These people don't have yachts. They don't take vacations. They're not, you know what I mean? They're not sending their kids to private school. Their kids are going to get like an ag degree from like a state university and they're coming back to the farm, or they're joining the military. The farmers I get my beef from are in the military currently. The farm is like a side gig. So that's who these people are. We want to encourage those people. These people want to do this. They don't have to do this. They want to do this. So how do we encourage that? How do we increase the beef supply? By encouraging more people to start farming and to continue farming. Having these policies in place that reduce the number of American beef farms is not going to help grow the US beef herd. Is that not obvious? We have so much bureaucratic red tape coming down from the FDA, the USDA, and state ag organizations, bureaucracies. That's what prevents people, small farmers. These regulations, and people say, oh, these regulations protect us from getting sick. No, they don't. People still get sick. There was still an E. coli outbreak from onions at McDonald's. It's not the small beef farms and produce farms that are making people sick. It's the big ones. And who puts their thumb on the scale at these bureaucracies and these government agencies to get policies written to reduce the competition so that they get all of the food dollars? The big guys. So they make us sick, and their failure is rewarded because every time they make us sick, there's more rules, and more rules make it harder for the little guy. That's not capitalism. That is not what's supposed to happen. And I've said this a million times in only 6 short episodes. Every time the government puts its thumb on the scale of capitalism, we run into problems. And that's where we are right now. The government is trying to put its thumb on the scale to control beef prices. Don't do that. Take off some of the red tape, reduce the bureaucratic load on these small farmers, increase competition, watch the beef herd grow, and watch the prices come down. And in the meantime, is it painful? Yes, absolutely. Any sort of transition is painful. However, during that period of pain, the food dollars stay in America. Instead of, during this period of pain, our food dollars go to Argentina. Make it make sense. Make it make sense. I don't know fucking anything. I am not a beef farmer. I don't have an ag degree. I don't have a public policy degree. I have a defense and strategic studies major that I have never used a single day in my life. I've held 2 jobs in the private sector. One was True Value Hardware when I was 17, and the other one was owning and operating Tandler's Tallow. So I don't know shit, but this seems super obvious to me. It seems super obvious to me. So it's got to be obvious to everybody else. So why aren't we doing it that way? Why aren't we doing it that way? Talking about bureaucratic red tape, food security, prices. Okay. My friends at No BS Meats, I talked to them. I talked to the wife. I said, "Can I share your story?" She said, "Yes." Okay. So I'm going to share the story. Again, I would not take their money to advertise for them. The only reason I talk about them is because they are our very good friends. We love them and we buy our beef from them. So I know intimately what is going on at their beef farm because we talk about it all the time. They're trying to get, in this period of high beef prices and, strain on the beef industry, what are they doing? They're not hiking their prices up. I've told them a million times you need to raise your prices. They don't want to do that because food security in the community is more important to them. Now they have to adjust their prices so they don't go out of business, because if they don't go out of business, nobody gets beef, right? Or if they go out of business, nobody gets beef. So, but even with their small price adjustments, I don't think it's enough. But again, not my business. I just love them to death and I want them to be able to keep going because it's what makes them happy. So instead of hiking their beef prices super high, what are they trying to do? They're trying to apply to accept EBT. Now we're in Cumberland County, North Carolina. It's a blue county. Okay. And as it goes in blue counties, a lot of people are on EBT. Fayetteville's it's not a big city, but it's a relatively large city for like North Carolina standards, and it's growing. A lot of people on EBT. A lot of military families around here who need assistance. If you're a specialist and you've got 3 kids, specialist salary, not going to cut it. So you're probably on some sort of food assistance. They're applying to accept EBT. Now it's a little bit challenging because, and by a little bit challenging, I mean a lot challenging, because they don't have a storefront. They sell beef shares at farmers markets, and then they take orders like online. They sell to a couple local grocery stores, but it's mostly online and in farmers markets. So they don't have a storefront. So for some reason, that makes it really, really difficult to get EBT accepted. That seems convenient, doesn't it? That seems conveniently written so that Walmart and Food Lion and Smithfield Barbecue and Tyson benefit, but the little guys don't. No BS Meat doesn't produce enough beef to ever get into a big grocery store. So, maybe they'll do a couple small local indie grocery stores, but they sell at a very, decreased margin. Not everybody shops at those grocery stores. Some people, if No BS Meats can accept EBT, that's more people in the community who can rely on the community for their food. Now, I'm an outsider to this whole thing. I pay taxes, right? Some of my tax dollars go to EBT. For a really long time, up until recently, maybe you still can, you can go to Walmart and buy a pack of Reese's cups, a soda, um, a box of cereal that's full of sugar and not not nutritional at all. You could go buy all that stuff with EBT, AKA with my tax dollars, with your tax dollars. We can buy Reese's, okay? But we can't buy, people on EBT can't buy meat from a local farmer or produce from a local farmer on EBT. That's crazy because, as the guy paying for this, because not only am I paying for my food, because I'm not on food assistance, I'm paying my grocery bill. And then my tax dollars are going to pay for somebody else's grocery bill. I would love for those, because they're going to get my tax dollars one way or another. I would love for those people to have the option to buy meat locally because it's better for you. It's more nutritious. It supports the local community. If it's my tax dollars going to help you buy groceries, I would love if you kept those tax dollars in the community and kept our local small businesses going. Hello. But every time No BS Meats gets on the phone, they get 3 more offices that they got to call. They're on hold for 45 minutes every time. I mean, this is a months-long process of them trying to get EBT acceptance, and they're not quitting. They will get it. They are stubborn, okay? They are not quitters. They're going to get it. It's going to be fine. But holy freaking moly, it should not be that hard. It should not be that hard, but we're getting beef from Argentina. We're deporting somebody's grandma, and we're importing beef from Argentina. Am I crazy? Because I feel like am I the asshole here? I feel like I'm the asshole because there's no way, dude. There's no way that we're serious right now. I gotta calm down. I'm getting fired up. An industry that I do know something about is the tallow industry, right? I buy beef fat. Sometimes I buy it raw. Sometimes I buy it already rendered. Whatever I got to do to keep up with demand. I like to support local ranchers where I can. Sometimes I get tallow that's rendered from No BS Meats. Okay. Sometimes I get raw tallow from No BS Meats and I got to render it myself. It's whatever. For her, so tallow it comes from the kidney fat. The fat around the kidneys, chock full of nutrients, super good for you, whether you're cooking with it, putting it on your skin, whatever. It's think of it as the right-wing coconut oil, okay? It is a byproduct of the meat industry. Oftentimes, it just gets thrown away. Now we're seeing Steak and Shake start to do tallow fries. We're starting to see places sell tallow, and they say it's tallow. It's a lot of trim fat in there. But it's fine. It's fine. But what it does is it allows us to reuse a byproduct of the meat industry to help, I don't know, fucking put less chemicals in your body. It sounds like a win-win to me. So No BS Meats, they send cows to the butcher when they go drop off the beef shares. Not everybody wants 60 pounds of fat, okay? I got it. What they would love to do is buy a jar of cooking tallow from No BS Meats to go with their little beef share order so they can fry their steaks up in tallow. It's great. In order for them to be able to melt fat down and strain it through a cheesecloth, because surprise, surprise, that's how you render tallow. You melt it down really slowly, and then you strain it through a cheesecloth. That's it. In order for them to do that, put it in a jar, slap a label on it, and sell it to somebody, they have to have a commercial kitchen. They have to have a manufacturing certification. I mean, what are we doing? What are we doing? Again, it's not the rancher melting beef fat down that's making people sick. It's just not. It is the big guys that make people sick, and every time they make people sick, nothing happens. Except for more rules that make it harder for the little guy to render their beef fat down because they got 100 pounds of it, put it in a jar and sell it to you. Guys, what are we doing? What are we doing? So what's the point? What's the point? Everybody says, I don't vote, my vote doesn't matter. Or I do vote, but I don't feel like my vote matters. And I can empathize with that. I feel like my vote doesn't matter right now because I fucking damn sure did not vote to import Argentinian beef. That's not what I voted for. I voted for America First. you only get to vote every 2 to 4 years. 2 years if you're doing midterms, municipal elections, every 4 years for president. That's not a lot of touches. It's not a lot of at-bats to make your voice heard. So it's very easy to feel completely powerless. But you're not. And I'm not. I'm fired up. You vote every single day with your dollars. Where you spend your money, that's your vote. That's your power. Do you want an example? You look like you want an example. I'll give you an example. Vaccines, okay? COVID vaccine, preposterous. Did I take it? Yes, because if I didn't take it, what was going to happen to me? I was going to get kicked out of the Army. Because I was an officer, I was going to get a dishonorable discharge. And then I was going to owe West Point, because I hadn't been in for 5 years yet, I was going to go owe West Point about $250,000. That was what was going to happen to me if I did not take the COVID shot. So I took it. I'm not happy about it. I'm actually pretty fucking pissed about it. My husband took it. Why? Because he was going to get kicked out of the Army. He wasn't going to be able to have the job that he has now if he did not get it. Okay? And he is vaccine injured, 100%. His cardio has never been the same. Neither is mine. It doesn't matter for me because I make soap for a living now. But for him, it's pretty important. Okay? He has never been the same since he took that shot. We were together when he took that shot. When we both took that shot, we were together. He took care of me when I was unconscious on the couch for like 18 hours after my second one. And I've seen him deal with these cardiovascular issues for years. So they lost a lot of trust with the vaccine, the COVID vaccine thing. And all these Maha moms were like, why are we getting Hep B at 24 hours old? That seems weird. Why aren't we studying the long-term effects? Why are these vaccines only studied for 5 days after people get them or after kids get them? Why are we giving adult doses to children? Why, when I was a kid, there was, like 7 shots or 7 diseases we were vaccinated against. Now there's like a bajillion, like 17 that you get as a small child over the course of like 30 to 50 doses. Why is it more than doubled? Because the increase from my dad's generation to mine was like maybe one more disease that you were inoculated against. From my generation to my son's generation, it went from like 7 to 17. Why? And they don't give a good answer for that. They just gaslight, fearmonger, say that you're crazy, that your kid's going to die because you're asking these questions. You shouldn't be asking these questions. Did you go to medical school? That's what they say. So they created a trust deficit. And what did people start doing? They started not getting their kids vaccinated, and that in large numbers. And then you have these vaccines sitting on the shelf. They're not selling through the insurance system. There's an issue. Now what's happening? Oh, we're taking a look at Hep B. You actually don't need that at 24 hours. Oh, we're going to take a look at MMR. Do we need to do it all at once? Do we need to roll those 3 vaccines into one, or can we do it over time? I'll tell you right now, Japan banned the MMR vaccine only a few years after it rolled out there because it was causing so many issues. But I'm the crazy one, right? Fine. Point is, moms voted with not their dollars coming right out of their pocket, but like their insurance dollars, in refusing to get their kids vaccinated because you're telling me to trust the science. I'm looking at the science, and you only study these kids for 5 days after they get vaccinated, but autism's up 30%. So you can't tell me, well, the data doesn't show any correlation, or, because you didn't study it. That's why the data doesn't show it. So until you study it, I'm out. Okay, that's what we did. And now they're relooking the vaccine schedule. Well, la-dee-da. Okay, so if you vote with your dollar and you choose American beef, you guys go to farmers markets. I know you do. It's the fall. You're putting your little stupid boots on and your stupid leggings and your oversized sweatshirt and your little weird cowboy hat thing. And you're going to the fucking farmers market and you're standing there by the pumpkin so you can take your picture. And you're walking right by the farmers. You're walking right by the ranchers who are fighting so hard to continue to bring food security to their community. You're walking right by them. God, I sound like I'm lecturing. I'm sorry. I'm so fired up about this right now. Next time you're at the farmer's market, vote with your dollar. That's all I'm saying. If you feel like you're powerless, you're not. Maybe you're a little bit lazy, but you're not powerless. You don't have to wait till 2028 to vote. Believe me, spend your dollars on American products and watch the policies change. It doesn't work if a few people do it. We all have to do it. And so that I'm talking about this because the weekend's coming up and I know you hoes are going to be out there at the farmer's market taking your picture, you know. Buy a big ass roast and pose with that. Fuck the pumpkin. Don't pose next to the pumpkin. Buy a bone-in ribeye and that was born, raised, fed, and processed in America by Americans. Most of these farmers are veterans. And take a picture with that. Because, man, you know, it would make such a big difference. Tag the rancher. They've all got social media and websites. They're surprisingly savvy these days. Tag them. You will make a real difference in someone's life, in an American's life here today, because I'm sorry, but the economy in Argentina is a big, hot, steaming plate of not my fucking problem. I'm cursing a lot today. It's not my problem. We can say a better economy in Argentina will reduce the amount of illegal immigration. That's why that's why it's America first. Didn't the Biden administration try that? How did that go? Because it takes a long time to improve an economy. It really does. And there's a lot of pitfalls you can run into before then. You can have a tyrannical government. You can have gang violence. You can have a natural disaster. There's too many. So I can't see a clear path from where we are right now with our immigration situation being what it is, our economy being what it is. I can't see a clear path from here to importing Argentinian beef and that just magically fixing everything. And I think the real point Trump was trying to make is, I like the president of Argentina. So he wants to cut a deal. He's a deal maker. He wants to cut a deal because he likes the guy. That's how businessmen do business. That's fine. Go ahead. Cut your fucking deal. I'm not going to buy that shit. I'm not going to go to Food Lion and buy beef anymore because I don't know where it came from. I don't know if that's American, if it's Argentinian. I don't know. So I'll go to Food Lion to buy my snacks, I guess. That's pretty much all we buy from the grocery store now. Snacks, an onion here or there, a couple potatoes, because we ate all of our potatoes that we grew. I will not be buying beef from Food Lion. And if we all stop buying beef from Food Lion, or a lot of us, it doesn't even have to be all of us. It just has to be enough for Food Lion to be like, what the hell? And then they start looking into what the hell. And then they're like, oh man, people don't like this importing beef thing at the expense of our farmers. Remove the red tape, increase competition. That's the policy we should be voting for. How do we vote for that in 2025, heading into 2026? I mean, we got municipal elections coming up. So you can look for some candidates who have favorable agricultural policies for small, regenerative, family-owned farms. You can vote for those, okay? So then once that election's over in November, then what? Long road to 2028. Start voting with your dollar. We're all squeezed financially, no matter where you spend your money. So make it count, because we don't have a lot of it to throw around right now. That's my policy, is I make it count. I'm conscious. I can't do it all the time, but whenever I can, I do. That's my message for you today. Pray for the American farmers. Pray for the American workers. Pray for the United States of America. Christ is King. I'll see you tomorrow.